Neil, I know this is an unenviable task, but I'm going to ask you to pick a winner here.
It's very difficult, this, you know. Shaun Murphy is the top 16 player. Neil Robertson isn't, but whether that means anything in this best of 7, I'm not sure.
Well, at least this is the last 32 at next week's British Open. If they both win their first matches, Murphy will play John Higgins in the last 64. The draws at the moment doing him no favours whatsoever.
Neil Robertson has said that he's back to something like his best, and it's, having watched him play this season, it's hard to disagree with that. But he'll only really feel that way when he starts winning again. Until he does, he's kind of not going to count for a great deal. But I think he's closer to that win, big win, than he has been for a year or 18 months. Very accurate long red, just off straight. You saw the very slight angle he had, which he located, which is good cueing. Going into them, he's got to be careful of this pot. They can be missed when you're forcing them going into the bunch. Reds haven't really opened.
8.
We've just had another result, and it's a career breakthrough for Ishpreet Singh Chadha of India, reaching the last 16 of a world ranking event for the very first time. So our congratulations to him. He's beaten Hossein Vafai 4-2. Made breaks of 71 and 59 in pulling away from 2-2. So Ishpreet tomorrow will play He Guo Kwang for a place in the quarterfinals. As for this match, the eventual winner will take on Ross Muir in the last 16. Muir coming through 4-1 against Jamie Jones this afternoon.
Foul. Enemies. Neil Robertson 4.
Not saying they haven't been around for a while, these two, but their first ever meeting was 26 years ago, Neil.
Yeah, of course, they were both at the start of their career. Shaun Murphy turned professional at age 15 at the time. Well, he had to be 16 to be pro, but he was allowed to before his 16th birthday. Now there are instances of players younger than 16 playing on the pro circuit. And he looked a good player then. And of course, Robertson, at the start of his career, people didn't quite take him seriously as a big player in the game, but he always had something. He developed a very attacking game and turned it into a terrific all-round game. And that safety side of the the way that he plays has put Murphy in trouble here. I mean, the bunch of tidy groups at the moment, there's no obvious damage going to be done, but he will have to hit this soon.
Yeah.
Playing the two cushion thin glance on the loose red, trying to hit the right side of this red, just like that.
First ever encounter for these two in a Home Nations event. And for both, it has big significance. You might think Murphy, well, number 8, he's got no rankings worries, but of course when his Players' Championship and Tour Championship first prizes come off his side of the ledger early next year, then he will fall considerably, so needs points to compensate for that. Now, getting to the semi-finals of the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters greatly helped, but he needs more than that. I must ask the question, Neil, when you have a terrible draw, and as I explained, Murphy's have 2 on the trot in this tournament and next week, do you sometimes feel a little aggrieved?
Yeah, I suppose you just have to look at it and say, well, whoever it is I'm playing has also got not the best of draws, but, you know, it does seem odd that these two would meet at this stage, but it's because of Robertson's slipping down the rankings. And of course, they always say, well, you've got to beat all the players anyway, but you'd rather play them further down the line or have someone else beat them if possible.
And that was brilliant cueing and ultimately for no reward.
Yeah, terrific pot. Slightly acute angle to go into the middle pocket from. A series of kisses there has meant that you know, the angle on this black is quite a thin one, especially if he's going to be attempting it with all long stuff on the cue. I think he's already considering a different option to the black.
Robertson 1.
You would think, given their style of play, this would be a potting and break building fest, but they have immense mutual respect. And so maybe it will be a little cagier than you might imagine.
Yes, and of course he got away with that somewhat, didn't he, Shaun Murphy, that safety error, hitting the red, not leaving anything. At the moment, he's just putting Shaun Murphy in a spot of bother every time. Even here, playing the thin safety shot. Tubal came perilously close to the right corner pocket there. Early exchanges, but tactically, Robertson just getting the upper hand slightly.
Only one other match going on right now. Barry Hawkins has made a good start against Zeuser. He's just taken a 2-0 lead. The winner there plays Kyron Wilson next. These two have met each other in a couple of finals. Both huge affairs. Murphy beat Robertson 10-2 in the climax of the 2015 Masters. In 2012, it was Robertson who beat him in the title match at the Masters 10-6. Loads of other semi-finals and quarter-finals.
Yeah, I mean, the 10-2 to Murphy, that kind of went slightly against the grain of how most people thought that match would go. Plenty of people thought it would be close. A lot believed Robertson would win, but he was hammered on the day by Shaun Murphy comprehensively in that match. A bit like the Welsh Open in 2020, when everyone thought that the Kyron Wilson-Shaun Murphy match would be tight, and it was a runaway for Murphy. On his day, he can almost blitz any player.
One.
Now, could be one shot away here from making these early inroads. It's a bit of a tricky black, close up to it, cutting it back into the 7 reds. This all goes to plan, he'll be right in. That looks A1 to me. Played it without a great deal of pace. He knew exactly what he was hoping for.
9.
The one thing that's never left Robertson, even through his woes last season, scoring ability. Considering he really struggled, he made 41 centuries
16.
in the campaign before this. That's a really healthy number.
17.
It was the other attributes, the other aspects of the game that let him down. But scoring has been a constant.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know what went wrong, really, but I suppose it's like anything. You know, winning is a habit, and sadly, losing can become one as well, and there were far too many
24.
of those surprising defeats in a row. Never quite able to bounce back from them. And that's a surprising miss. That is
Robertson,
coming
24.
completely out of the blue.
That ball will not linger in his mind if he's not punished. If he is, it will be stuck there immovably.
One. Eight. Nine. 16. 17.
So he didn't have a great angle on the reds, and that's why he's low on the black. And as a consequence, he's further away from the next red than he might have been. He's got to play a good recovery shot to get back into prime position.
24.
As Phil said, to punish Robertson for the easy red he missed. Didn't expect that, you know.
So Murphy,
He looked
24.
very at ease at the table there on that shot, but it stays out. I think he's trying to hold for the black, probably why he missed it on the thick side of the potting angle.
Not dissimilar to the red that Mark Williams missed on 62 in that Saudi Arabia final that he ultimately lost to Trump. Oh, that's a cracker. That's a cracker.
Really good shot. You're absolutely right. So they're one each now in errors.
Four. 5.
So yeah, a handy lead of 26 points. Angle on the blue, no good. Playing all round the angles, I think, to get close to a red. If he was going to play with topspin, the yellow actually where its place is in the way to come through that part of bolt. So he had to sort of play it with a lot of topspin. He's just got to watch where the yellow is again here, so he doesn't make any kind of a foul. Leaning across. Ah, that's a good strike. That is a good shot.
Confidence has been returning. as evidenced by the way he played in the first match here. In the last 64, overcame Jackson Page 4-1, making a century and 3 other breaks of 60 or more. And we all know how
19.
dangerous a player Page can be, so that was no easy draw.
Yes, this will be 45 in it, but another red will get the frame one. Played it the safe way, played the red to left middle, not try and do anything flash.
24.
So the odd blip on the
25.
way in this first frame, but generally speaking, I think he looks good in all departments.
31. Neil Robertson, 31, and the frame.
2 reds missed to that top corner pocket by Neil Robertson, but the second one did not matter in the slightest. He draws first blood.
Thank you. Second frame, Neil Robertson to break.
So it's cue, frame 2. And a change of cue is the topic of conversation. Very unusual, Neil. But Shaun Murphy, after that less than pleasing start, has decided to complete a swap.
Well, there it is. One goes away, another one comes out. Look, he's threatened to do this for a long time. I've never seen any worth in it, but because we don't know if he started with a different cue and ended up playing with the one he's used to. We don't know which way round it is, but we'll see if any of it works. It's never been something that would do anything but inspire confidence in your opponent, quite honestly. But we'll see.
One.
He would have preferred a slightly thicker kiss on the blue, but he can't really moan too much about where the cue ball has come to rest. Especially now.
8. Nine.
It's been 4 years and 7 months since
14.
Neil Robertson beat Shaun Murphy 6-1 in the semi-final of the German Masters of 2020.
15.
Well, you've got the side view there of the pink is a bit above the bunch, and it means you hit the pink half ball, the reds don't even move. But he hit it full ball, completely square on, so that was a good effort. And he deserves
20.
the red to just run round into a potable position, I think.
Yeah, the last ball rolling saved his positional bacon there, and now this is looking a very promising chance.
Twenty-one.
No, that was a strange one. I don't know if he
28.
must have played a cannon on something else. He didn't try to go into that little bunch of reds through the gap because he wouldn't have played it that slowly. I think he's on a red still. I think he must have played the cannon on the red directly above the black spot. Looks a bit mystified as to what happened there. It's going to be difficult to access the ball he's trying to. It's a red to the left corner. He'll do well to pot this and get position on the black. Be a good shot. Yeah, well, it went wrong. I don't think he meant to hit the red he was closest to, the one, the red that was pushed over the right corner. He wasn't meant to strike that.
29.
So he's got himself in a bit of a pickle there from a position of strength.
Yes, far more often than not in a position like that, Robertson would fully capitalise.
Yeah, the worst thing is, of course, that red that's blocking the black. If he plays safe, he could leave that red on now for Shaun Murphy. And now that's what he's trying to avoid. Looking at areas where he won't leave the red. Well, he's got enough balls to use for cover, but he was actually trying to get the black in the way as well. Can't think that he can get through to the red can. Everyone's looking down the line. It's not quite on. He'd have to use side, and he's now using a different cue to the one he started with. The side can play differently. It's a good shot, though.
1.
Now, this kind of black is tricky. Ask Steve Davis.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's not quite the same, is it? But it's from the other side, first of all, but it was like the first thing that crossed my mind as well.
8.
I've never really seen that shot ever quite replicated, don't think, on a snooker table, the one that he missed in the 85 final. A few near misses.
9.
I think it's a pretty famous shot that anyone who follows snooker for any period of time knows, but we did a recreation a few years ago at the Crucible. There's a little
60.
bit of a poser for the commentary team, and actually the potting angle of cutting that red that Davis missed in was almost a guaranteed in off into the yellow pocket, top left. That would have been even more dramatic had that happened in the 85 final.
Seventeen. 22. 23.
Oh, that is a terrible shot. That really is. I don't know how many cues he's got in that case, but he might have to find another one after that last shot.
Neil, you're a bad man. You really are.
That's a great recovery, in fairness. I mean, he looks terrific out there, always. I don't know whether he feels he got a bad contact or what it is. But this was a lovely piece of cueing.
While the pink is being put back on the table, I can tell you Barry Hawkins 3-0 up on Zousa. Zhu made a safety error early in the third frame, and the Hawk swooped with a break of 73.
Of course, the problem with that last shot there is he's rolled it in, and as you can see, the pink is going to block off the 2 reds which might have been available. Still the bottom one goes, but it's just tied things up a little bit in the middle.
30.
Get the feeling he'll have to nudge the reds here. He could play on the left-hand one. He's got to get the reds moved. A little unlucky. Red to right middle is quite a narrow angle.
37.
And it was interesting earlier today that Kyron Wilson, in his post-match interview, was saying just how tight the middle pockets have been playing this season. That, though, would not have gone on any table.
Shaun Murphy, 37.
Could be a plant, this. They're not dead in line, or else he'd have played it already. He's just got to change the angle onto the second red to make the plant happen. Yeah, they're quite a way off. He may not even try it, I think. This is going to take some knocking in, this plant. Decided against it. Now, I think this time the cue was a bit further across. He might play it this time. A little bit less to do with the plant. They're offset, but not so badly from where he is now with the cue ball.
What an important shot this is. Well, he nailed the plant, but the cue ball pulled back a little too far.
Kind of suggests he didn't really fancy the shot that much, I think. Or else he'd have played on the black, left the cue ball further up the table. Yeah, no, Pot attempted that. I did wonder for a second whether he was trying it.
Robertson 1.
7 points in it. An open table. Frame up for grabs. For so much of their illustrious careers, these two have been the centre of attention, and that's the case again, because now this is the only match in play. Barry Hawkins, with an 84 break, has just completed a 4-0 whitewash of Zhu Se. So Hawkins will play Corin Wilson in the last 16.
Oh, desperate to get the cue ball back to roughly where it is now, certainly on this cushion. It's quite a good shot, isn't it? He's left a bit of a headache here for Murphy. Certainly the weight on the cue ball underneath the cushion has made it hard for Shaun Murphy to do a great deal here.
In terms of quality, the touch paper not lit yet in the match, but there's no denying its intensity, particularly this frame.
Such a difficult shot, that, just rolling it.
One.
Neil, several examples already that Neil Robertson is timing the ball nicely.
Yes, I think he is confident. But as I said earlier, you know, it will still come down to him appearing at the weekend in these sort of events, certainly on the final day. But I think he's put the work in, which is all you can do.
Five.
He's very close to that red, goodness. Didn't make contact with it with his shirt, but he was close to. Of course, there's this race to 1,000 centuries, a lot of discussion over. John Higgins been on 998 for a long time, Judd Trump right behind him. Neil Robertson won't be long either, will he, on 948? He's going to come, well, possibly this season.
Yeah, this season or next. So he'll be the fourth player to that milestone. Not concerned with the century here, just getting enough points to double his advantage.
I think if he has a good season from here and he starts winning again, he might get to it. But of course, a lot depends how many matches you play. Quite a good shot, that, because it's not the most natural shot to play around two cushions off that pink, away from its own spot. A good chance for that 2-0 scoreline now.
Check. 18.
So many frames come down to the last red, and quite often it's a shot that can be missed.
Yeah, he would love to have been just a different angle on this blue.
19.
He's got a slightly more difficult shot now to get in behind the yellow. One you'd still say he will get if he takes on the green. If he rolls the blue in, the yellow's more awkward. I think a confident Neil Robertson would punch the green ball in, and he knows he's on the yellow then. Or even the brown, I suppose. Very good. I think it would have been a cop-out playing the blue and facing
23.
the yellow that he could easily have missed.
Not out of the woods yet, though. I think he's dropped a little straighter on the yellow than he wanted to be. In fact, very straight. And one thing leads to another.
Yeah, and the worst part is it doesn't even, in potting the green, there'll still be not enough in it. Only be 21 points with 22 left if the green goes in. He's got a hold for the brown. Well, he's got there in the end, isn't he? It was a good shot there on the green. So this was hard earned in the end.
32. 37. 43. 50.
Two different cues, but for Shaun Murphy, the same outcome in the opening couple of frames. He's lost them both. Has to get going, and there's no time like the present. And that will not assist his mood.
One.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that the reason that Shaun Murphy must have reached for a different cue after the first frame from this case is I don't think the conditions today have been great. I think the maybe the atmosphere and the temperature has affected the table a bit because most of the players have come off and said the conditions are a little bit tough. But what I would say about that is if the conditions are tough, changing your cue just doubles the problem.
8. 9.
And that compounds the problem. Robertson, clearly, the way he's looking, believes the red that's just detached from the bunch can serve a purpose.
$16. 17.
Very neatly done. Just bringing a few reds out into play. That's a pretty good shot if he's on the right hand red of the two close
24.
together, because there was not a great deal of room to manoeuvre there. And they looked like they were going to be a problem in this break, but he's on the right hand one. That's tidied
25.
things up quite a lot.
$32.
Now, is he straight enough to hold for the black? I think he's going to try and run through, stay on the black. Yeah.
33.
Again, a nice nudge. It's been a really well-made break of 33. Not enough yet, but it's a good start.
40.
Now this could be the linchpin shot in the whole frame. Nope.
Robertson, 40.
Can Murphy turn things around? Get the feel-good factor back? Well, the hand gesticulations, a bit like Marcel Marceau telling us what's gone on there. He's suggesting that the cue ball rolled off from left to right.
One.
Yeah, once again, nothing coming that easy. Murphy deep in thought. He's played a few not great shots. He was directing traffic, wasn't he, after that red was missed? Suggesting it rolled off or whatever it was. It's a nice shot. The reason it's a nice shot is he could easily have just hit the pink on the way through. The pink's kind of in the way, but he missed it narrowly and got his rewards, opening the reds.
Just one thought on Murphy. There was nothing to suggest in his first match here that he would struggle tonight. He beat Jamie Clark 4-1. Put together a couple of centuries and a 70-odd. He's had 5 matches already this season in which he's made 2 or more tons. So he's playing nicely. But not so far in this match.
7.
I think it's safe to say that Neil Robertson's got a target. You know, he's refreshed it after a new season. He's practiced a lot in the summer, he said. Target is to get back in the top flight. And he'd have to be quite consistent. Already this season he showed consistency. There's no substitute for putting in the work at this game.
Yes, he's claimed some useful scalps, most notably Mark Selby. He beat in the last 32 of the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters. Then Gary Wilson, 6-1 in the last 16 before succumbing to eventual champion Judd Trump, 6-3 in the quarters. He's also qualified safely for the forthcoming British Open and the Wuhan Open in China.
14.
They're the next 2 world ranking events after this.
Twenty-one. 22.
Yes, it's not been a barrage of big scoring. And he's not even won the frame yet because that's not been played to perfection,
27.
but it's quite a one-sided match. I'm sure that conditions out there could be better
28.
tonight, but you've just got to adapt and play with almost the cards you dealt, really, at this game.
Yes, and conditions can change throughout the day. I well recall, funnily enough, a match involving
35.
Neil Robertson. It was the last one on in a tournament in Romania some years back. He played Anthony McGill. The day began, the table was playing fine. By the end of it, by the end of that day,
36.
it was a shocker. This table much more manageable than that one.
Keep looking over at
44.
Shaun, and he's not really as on it as he usually is sitting there. He seems a little pensive in his mood. I know he's losing. But usually the body language is always good. It isn't great tonight from Murphy.
50.
Meanwhile, Neil Robertson is just knuckling down and doing what he does.
$57.
And just enough on the table to make a century. Until he misses the penultimate red.
And the frame.
But the work had been done. Neil Robertson with breaks of 40 and then 57 heaps on the pain to Shaun Murphy. It's 3-0. A shout of "come on, Neil" from the crowd here in Brentwood. He's one frame away from completing a whitewash. And you have to make this point. If he does go through, his next opponent will be the lowest ranked player left in the tournament, Ross Muir. Officially world number 26, Neil Robertson, with all points added in to this point. He's up to 25, and a win here tonight wouldn't improve on that. But of course, if you get to semi-finals, final, or win the whole shebang, then you zoom up the list. And that's the main intention for him, getting back where he's been for a couple of decades.
Well, even this left a red on, but with awkward queuing, Murphy seems to come to the table with everything a little bit tricky right now.
One.
That's a good shot. There is a real fight left in Shaun Murphy. Usually there is. He's good from trailing in matches. If he gets going, he could be a formidable player. Let's hit that well. To get there.
4.
There was certainly plenty of fight in Murphy in his semi-final against Judd Trump in Riyadh. He won one frame after requiring a snooker, another with a 60-plus clearance, and in the end, he was only beaten 6-5.
12.
Needs to demonstrate that same tenacity here.
$20. 21.
Well, here's a way of going into the bunch and hopefully coming out onto the
28.
black, disturbing reds in the process. And not too bad.
29. $36. 37.
He's just having a look at the pink spot
41.
as to whether it's covered up by a red, which means, of course, if you played the pink, it would go up. I think the yellow spot's free.
$42.
Can't see for sure that the pink spot is covered up. It looks a little bit congested around there. Probably better up there out the way, actually. Not getting in the way of any reds in that little bunch.
$49. 56.
Already Murphy's highest break of the match, with potential for many more.
Yes, he's taken these really well. Even that last shot on the black to stun round for the red was a good shot.
$57.
Could have worked
64.
out better.
65.
The red was a tester, and he's got one more examination to pass here.
Yeah, I don't think he'd have minded if a second red went in there. A couple of
Green
them
ball.
threatened to do so on that shot. That would have meant Robertson couldn't win the frame. But he's passed the test anyway, so he looks like he's pulled the frame back in some style here.
68. $69.
Well, if he makes a century here, he's on 17 for the season, which is the same as Judd Trump. His best scoring performance was in the semi-final of the Shanghai Masters in beating
74.
Mark Selby 10-8. He made 4 centuries in that match.
$75. $82. $83.
Yeah, it's a very good break, this.
90.
Typical Murphy break, confident, striding around the table,
91.
cueing well.
$98. $99.
Now, that is the textbook way to launch a possible recovery.
104.
Yeah, super break, this.
106. 109.
And you don't think these two, when they clash, produce good snooker? Well, this is the 50th century in matches between these two. Murphy's 21st, Robertson has made 29.
113. 118. 124.
Wait for it.
100.
Not a bad effort. A very good break. Shaun Murphy remains alive in the match. 124, he trails 3-1. But Murphy has renewed life. May be useful for Shaun Murphy to remind himself that Neil Robertson badly needs a victory here. And so consequently, when you want something, getting over the line can be problematic. Quintessential shot to nothing. And it might be a shot to something. He's on the green with a good angle.
Yeah, I think the point you're making is he's got to go over the line still, hasn't he, Neil Robertson? With Shaun Murphy showing improved form. That might not have been a problem a couple of seasons back. It may not be one now, because that shot was also a good one.
4.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen this week, who's going to win it or anything, but I do feel that Robertson is going to end up back in the 16 at some point in the next year. It might take him a while, because you know, he's a bit adrift of a few players, but you know, he doesn't have so many big points coming off now as he did. That's why he got into this predicament. This would be a good shot from there. Goodness me, these aren't fun. And he has to play the black. Oh, excellent cueing. The speed he played it, I mean, to play it with that extra degree of pace means you've got to be even more accurate.
20.
You hear commentators talk about pressure shots. That was a quintessential pressure shot. Knew what he'd be leaving, and he also knew what he could potentially gain himself. Terrific. He'll be feeling good after that.
Thank you. 21. 28. 29.
A total of 23 world ranking titles for Neil Robertson, but he's not added to that impressive tally
36.
for 2.5 years. All the signs are, though, he is coming back into something approximating his normal form.
Just that last shot, a ball's bit short of pace. You know, he's just got to avoid hitting too many reds. Just clipping one of them. Yeah, he's striking the ball with a certain authority, I feel, that maybe was missing last season. With Robertson, it's all about the right blend of attack and defence. He's got a good all-round game, but sometimes he's gone a little bit too cautious, occasionally a little bit ponderous on shots. You know, when he's playing well, he just gets all boxes ticked. Well, I'm not sure what could be possible to the right corner, so this is a longish red up into the top left. Mid-range, I guess. So this is another test of his cueing. Gonna have to play it. Well, saying that, surprisingly, he didn't go for that. Well, Neil Robertson, I've been watching for the last 20 years, would knock that in an awful lot more than he'd miss it, but he's looking to protect that 42-point lead. What a strange decision it looks now, because Neil looked at those reds. They thought there was a plant there. It's even more of a reason, I think, to go for that red into the yellow pocket that he refused. Still was well potted and well found by Murphy. I wonder if there's a possible twist, which has started, of course, in the previous frame.
Shaun, Murphy 1.
Certainly lost out on that little exchange, Robertson.
The way the reds were placed, he didn't have to trickle into them at dead weight. Now, when you're 41 points behind, you want to try and keep the high-value colours as safe as possible, so chipping the pink to the side cushion will not greatly concern Robertson.
That's the second very good half ball red that he's knocked in to that left corner in this frame. And now he's got the advantage back. Now, is he going to get to thinking here, or is it just a question of rolling in behind a colour, behind the yellow perhaps? Or is he thinking about putting a ball safe? Sometimes to keep it simple might be the answer. Drop in behind the ball and put the pressure back on Murphy in that way. He's already got the pink awkwardly placed.
Robertson 1.
Yeah, sometimes you see players overthinking that situation. Robertson did the simple thing and the right thing. Not the enviable position Murphy wanted to be in. 3-1 down and 42 adrift in the next. Plus, in a very troublesome snooker.
Yeah, I mean, in the back of his mind, he knows this might be his last shot of the night and of the English Open. It's not so difficult to hit a red, but keeping them safe, not easy, and he's gone a strange way, but what a great shot this is. That is sensational. That is as good an escape as you'll see. It's exactly how he played it. And deserves all the credit for an escape of that quality.
Yeah, superb, wasn't it? In terms of angle, in terms of weight, the way it was conceived. Excellent.
Touching ball.
Not what Neil Robertson wanted there. Leave Shaun Murphy the touching ball. Got a chance to play away, so he's got away with that. He weathered the storm that he was in when snookered Murphy. Now he can get right away from all of the reds and play a good safety shot. Still in there punching.
Given the two competence, it could be a final, this. It's a late night, last 32.
One.
How about that? All of a sudden, things are beginning to happen for Murphy. Great shot. Little nudge of these reds, perhaps. And the deficit that he's got in the frame mightn't count for much here. Deciding against it for now. I think that bottom red on the left of the five close together will go into the right corner from that last shot we saw. Oh dear. Ah dear. That's usually his speciality, those mid-range shots, cueing shots. Didn't see him missing that one. Well, having missed an easier red than this one, he's still going to probably have to take it on this right-hand red. It's the only one he can see. Don't suppose it'll inspire him the last shot he played, faced with this one straight away afterwards.
Oh, and that little flick off the black. That could be terminal.
One.
Strange performance from Shaun Murphy. One interlude of brilliance in the fourth frame. Apart from that, it's been a match he will want to quickly forget.
Six. Seven.
Looks for all the world now, Neil, that Robertson will
40.
improve his head-to-head record against Murphy to 16 wins and 11 defeats.
$15.
Yes, I think that's going to be the case if this black goes in. And one more red, just for safekeeping. It's not been a classic match. It's been pretty good, enjoyable. Mistakes made. Murphy, as you say, with that
22.
one excellent century. And even Shaun himself, I don't think
23.
really could argue with this scoreline. It's about right on the run of play in favour of the Australian.
And it's a result which means we will have 6 nations represented in the
30.
last 16 tomorrow. England,
31.
China, India, Northern Ireland, Scotland. And it's been a case of advance Australia fair this evening.
38. 39. 44. 46.
I mean, it's sometimes difficult to read too much into a best of 7 other than somebody wins and somebody loses. You know, I don't think there's a lot of soul searching for Shaun Murphy. I think generally his form's good. Just on the night, he hasn't played all that well.
$53.
And he's used a different cue in the last few frames to the one he started with.
64.
Robertson reserving his best break for last. He defeats Shaun Murphy by 4 frames to 1. And the headline from the Brentwood Centre is this: the man from down under has come out on top.